Welcome to the Football Yanks podcast. Yeah, we're American, but we're talking about soccer here. Hosts Derek, Ryan, and Luke are all football fanatics, tracking our fellow Yanks in the EPL and abroad. Enjoy today's episode.
Hey everyone, we're back and we've got the full complement of Yanks this week. Luke has returned. I'm feeling much better. It was actually painful to listen to that last episode when I was editing it because I was fucking dying, guys. Like this last week, it felt like I had COVID, but I never tested positive. Luke, how are you feeling, man?
I'm alive.
I thought we lost Luke because we hadn't heard from him.
He ghosts us. And I think around the time Tottenham plays every week, he just drops off the group.
I think he
chat.
silences the group chat, which is smart.
The group chat is definitely silent.
Yeah.
No, I decided that Ryan needed, some better use of his time than editing out my keyboard noises. I was giving you a break, so you're welcome. But I had COVID last week, so I was sick along with you, but I'm better now. Thank God.
Yeah. I just fought through that episode and felt awful. I was muting my mic a lot while I was coughing, but I still had to cough in the mic a few times. And
this would have been the noise if I was on the podcast for me.
I think we just got another soundbite.
Well, I'm glad I can contribute something to this podcast. I feel missed.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same without you here, for better or worse. Yeah. How's Tessa feeling? Everybody feeling better?
Yeah, we're all recovered. It was really Monday and Tuesday with days we were just totally laid up in bed, couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It was definitely not pleasant, but yeah, we're better. All good to go. Excited for soccer tonight.
Yeah, it's been snowing all day here in Baltimore, and I know Shannon is stoked about playing in the snow.
I kind of like playing in the snow. I played soccer in Iowa in college, so
yeah.
I'm all about the weather. Just give it to me. Why not?
I get sketched out on turf. Yeah.
Just
that's
how
a turf
slick
field.
it can get.
Yeah, and turf, the risk of injury is already higher just playing on turf, and then you add snow in the mix.
You get me really excited about going out there tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sick of all these Marylanders complaining about the goddamn snow.
It's it wasn't even that much
out?
snow. It's not that much snow. We
And
just
it's not
haven't
cold.
had snow for a while.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years, I think, since we had snow here, or any that accumulated. Yeah, but
you half it. Fucking congratulations, Maryland.
yeah, it's. I wonder, outside of the city, sometimes, in the burbs, they get more snow than we do in the city. So, I'll be curious if there are work delays and stuff like that tomorrow. It's supposed to snow throughout the night, I think, until midnight. So.
Yeah, I think school will probably be closed. There'll be some businesses closed.
Derek, I'm glad you don't have to do anything tomorrow. You don't have to go to school.
I'm actually going to go to the office because I showing up like an arrogant prick wearing suits on days when everybody else is underdressed. So that's going to be my move tomorrow.
Good shit.
You're rocking a suit?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Like a tailored suit, or did you just go to Nordstrom Rack to get a random
right off the rack. Off the
this
rack.
This is from the guy who tells us he's filling out applications for other podcasts. Right before he gets on the podcast. I think it's a bit premature for that, Luke. But anyways, we'll be supportive if we can.
Dude, Men in Blazers is hiring. Imagine me on that show. Shut the fuck up! Nobody cares about Everton.
You're way too uncouth for that show.
Yeah, you're right where you belong.
They get
Luke.
John Oliver on that outfit. Yeah. All right. Well, let's hop in.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, so this is, I think, is it match week 22? They like split this one in half, I think.
Sometimes I just pick a week at random and label the episode as such. So.
Oh, it's 21. It's match week 21.
Well,
so they like split it in half to simulate or like create a week off for teams, right? So like half the teams played this week, half will play next weekend, and there are like some cup matches in between. I think like Chelsea will play their second leg on Tuesday, for example. So the first match we have on here is Tottenham Man United. Luke, what did you I have so many questions for you because we like talked about the Timo loan last week and kind of got our thoughts down. How are you feeling about the Spurs? You know, they're in a title challenge according to Big Ange. So yeah, what'd you think of this performance? What do you think of their trade window work thus far?
Well, I have kind of multiple feelings about the match in general. I think generally it was a really intense match without a huge amount of quality outside of the goals, right? I think our midfield, Spurs midfield, was really not of a really good quality other than Bentancur. Like you look at Højbjerg, Skip, Bentancur, like that's not that great of a midfield. So it kind of brings back how injured the team is for how large the squad is. Not that there are other teams dealing with that, including United. I thought we bossed most of the game. United did exactly what you could imagine United doing, hitting us on the break. Really good finish from two really good finishes, really, but Højlund's finish was really good. Really good resilience in the team to come back twice. I think a point at Old Trafford in the state the team is not bad, especially going into a longer break between games. So overall happy from a Spurs perspective, from a kind of normal audience perspective. It was an intense game without a lot of quality, like I said. Pretty happy with the window so far. Not necessarily because I know the quality of the players is like really, really high. We all know about Timo Werner, but I don't really know too much about the Dragnesen player, this Romanian player we signed, the center back. Mm-hmm. What's good about it, what's encouraging to me is that it's the first time in my memory that Daniel Levy has gone out and purchased players early in the window. So I think that bodes well going forward. Ange has a period now to train with the players. Get them moving in the right direction. Hopefully some injuries come back. Team's looking good when we get our injuries back. That's the biggest takeaway. Dominated a Man United team that is only playing on the counter, but is scared to say they're a counterattacking team. But yeah,
weren't
not unhappy.
They weren't for a while. Like I remember Ten Hag at the beginning of the season, like very specifically saying that they wanted to be the best counter-attacking team in the league. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but
I think that came from a different kind of context. Like he wanted to be a really quick transitional team.
Yeah.
What that has shifted into is like a Jose Mourinho kind of approach where they are defending a lot and using players like Rashford and Garnacho to attack in really, really fast transitions. It's like Bruno, the quarterback, hit diagonal balls. The quarterback, hit diagonal balls every single time.
Yeah, and they're sometimes sort of just aimlessly playing the ball out into space. Like the minute they get the ball, like they're just trying to feed it up top.
Yeah. It was really good for us to have our full defense together again, despite giving up 2 goals. Really good to see Mickey van de Ven. I think that he's a serious player. Good to see Christian Romero captain the team too. But yeah, Man United just are a very blah team. 2-2 is an okay result, but wish we had got 3 points.
Yeah.
You guys have any thoughts on that? I'm kind of being I feel a little, kind of mid-tone about the whole thing. What do you guys think?
I'll let Derek, so, you had some notes on here, so.
Yeah, I mean, going into the game, I thought I was surprised at the betting line in the game because I thought United was favored by significantly more than I would think, based on like how reliant on counterattacking they've been, and like how relatively
United was
effective.
favored.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think it's to do with history of the, like, we don't win at Old Trafford.
Yeah, it's a home game.
Yeah. Sorry, Derek.
But no, that's part of it, right? It was the home game, and then but what surprises me is like you look at like run of form, and like sure, Tottenham's down a bunch of players, but like United's just such a underperforming, pathetic team in so many ways. Like unless they're getting on the counter, and like I don't know how long it had been since Rashford had last scored in like May or something like that. Like
It was May.
Was it really May?
I think that's
insane.
What they said. It was May, and like last season he had, I think, 30. Yeah, it was either goals or goal involvements. I don't remember, in all competitions.
Rashford's not looking. Yeah. Rashford's just not looking the same.
Yeah, so this was a turnaround for him. It was a bit surprising to see Højlund this effective, given the players around him in this one. And I think a lot of it had to do with Tottenham being shorthanded, particularly like in midfield, right, and like new players coming in. But yeah, I think it's a good. And so I was kind of backing Tottenham to win this, or at least tie it, and that kind of was the result we saw here. So I'm not too surprised at how this played out. I think Tottenham very easily could have won it.
Bossed the game at points.
Yeah, given their some of their runs of possession and in the number of shots they're able to generate, but missing a few key pieces in the midfield.
I didn't even touch on it. There's this there's a kind of a narrative that came out after the game, and I think Ange kind of put this out there purposefully a little bit. But there's a large amount of sickness that ran through Spurs over the course of the past like 5 to 7 days, and Kulu really suffered from it and couldn't get to fitness. So that was a huge miss for us. I think Kulu in that team, playing in that number 10, kind of attacking number 8 that he's been pushed into with Maddison out and with Lo Celso out, I think we win that game.
Yeah, I'd back that. I mean, I think that the defending will get better. I wasn't impressed with them. I'm surprised the rating Porro got, because I thought I think both those goals came from his side. He was directly involved in at least one of them, if not both. He did do better. He did do well at times to stop the counterattack, especially the Rashford kind of running free down that side at times. And so to me, it was a little bit underwhelming performance in their defense, which probably could have gotten them a win out of this. But and then Timo, he had his. I think I might paste an Instagram link in there somewhere, or maybe I forgot to. But there was a pretty good. He had one pretty good field goal kick, and then
bad.
But
that was
bad.
It was rough, and they were like, "Yep."
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. He did have I thought he had a really nice assist they played in the Bentancur. So like, if he can do that kind of stuff attacking down the wing, then like, I don't know, it kind of negates the fact that his shot is such a just abhorrent liability at this point. Not that Richarlison's always that much better, but like, I think that's
6 goals in 6 games.
Yeah,
in the Premier League.
He's playing well.
And he played well, I thought. If you watch the course of that game, he did hold the ball up well, defended well on set pieces. So
that goal, I think that goal is extremely hard to defend because the angle and velocity is coming into the mix there. But he did really well to score on that nonetheless. So as good of a cross as it was, I would say he did well to finish that. I haven't been impressed with too many of his finishes this season. He has had a couple really nice headers though.
Yeah. I mean, he's no Nico Jackson, but
I think on the Werner side is interesting, because Werner's going to come into the team and the pressure is not going to be on him like it was on Chelsea. He's much more of a system player in this role where he doesn't have to score. Like, he can have moments where he kind of flubs his line, like that really fucking terrible shot. But I thought Werner looked good. Like, he hasn't played really much at all, and to be thrown in like that, which probably wasn't the hope. I thought he played well. He did enough for me to show that he can be a player down the stretch as we don't have Son.
Yeah. There's like so much I wanted to chime in on. So Werner, I like Timo Werner. Like, he works hard. And yeah, I mean, he'll stretch teams. And even though he's not going to like overperform his XG, he has to be accounted for, right? And the speed is real, and that creates problems for teams. I think he's really stupid. Like his
Can we get a soundbite of him saying, "I play Fortnite"?
Did he say that?
Oh yeah.
Good
It was a long time ago. I play Fortnite.
Yeah. I don't think he understands offsides. Like, no. He just positionally is like, if
he hasn't gotten it at this point.
But I looked at it, and he, like, over his career, he performs just like right at his XG. He's gonna score the goals he probably should. It is a weird acquisition. I get what they needed to do, but yeah, they're really like rolling the dice on a guy who hasn't been playing.
It's affordable though. They're paying his wages. They don't have to sign him. I think it's pretty low risk on Spurs' part, which makes sense. It's a Spurs signing. It's kind of like, bleh.
Yeah. The Spurs, your fan base must be just buzzing from the announcement of the NFL schedule for next season, right? Like, something to look forward to.
A beat it, baby. We're gonna make some money.
The EBITDA.
Yeah, you gotta. I wasn't sure what to say there, but yeah, you gotta cover these high dollar signings somehow.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, nothing will cover a Timo Werner acquisition like Jacksonville versus Buffalo Bills. Oh, the Ravens! You're going to host or am I I'm looking at this year's. Never mind. You hosted the Ravens this year. I saw that the schedule for next year came out, but I don't.
Well, we're also going to, if they don't fix the field, I think that we're going to be quickly come known as like a graveyard for injured fucking NFL players.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I get that. I get the shtick on the, like, what are they doing with that fucking stadium? Is it like a football stadium or an NFL stadium or a venue? I get the shtick.
It's an entertainment venue masquerading as a soccer team.
I hear that. But we're not going to have financial fair play issues like
neither's
teams
Chelsea,
like Everton and Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
So,
we'll
I think we're
cover that
okay.
in a second. I thought Romero played well. I thought Rashford, though he scored, I didn't think he looked that great. Like, I could count on two hands probably the number of times that he just tried to take on defenders and dribbled it straight out out of bounds for a goal kick. Just like over touching the ball. Good for him to score. I'm trying to think of the other observations I had. I just watched this match.
He doesn't really. He's not really good at taking on players. He's not like he can't really dribble by people. He needs a defender to kind of sit off him so he can take advantage of like the 5 or 10 or 5 to like 6 yards between him, a defender, and then he'll score. But if the defender gets really close to him, he's not that good. He's not. Yeah, it's just not a. He's a transitional player.
Yeah,
that's it.
I think Rashford is like fairly mediocre, which I don't know if that's a hot take anymore, but that's like my current assessment of him. I don't think he's the killer that he appeared to be. And yeah, I mean, I was reading an article, it might have been The Athletic. I was reading an article about the Ratcliffe takeover and the work to be done with this team. And the reporter that was writing the article was like laying out what their vision would be for like what needs to be done on the soccer side of things with Man United. And the first line of it said something like, issue number 1 is that nobody here is very good. They're all like mediocre or old or both. And they've got a hole to dig themselves. And they're up against FFP. which is crazy. Like Højlund is good. Garnacho, I think, is good. They've got pieces, but like, they're playing fucking what's his name, Evans, in
Oh my God,
as a as a CB right now. Like Bentancur, that was a good finish, but he was just allowed
past him. Yeah,
he was just allowed to walk right past Evan for that goal. Yeah, that team's got issues, man.
Evans couldn't put his walker down fast enough to get over there.
The future is not
best player on
bright
the pitch, though.
For Man U. I don't know.
To your point, like Rashford in that situation, like what's he can attack or he can hold the ball up and then wait for Wan-Bissaka to overlap him. So he's
on
like,
the left side.
I'm just gonna go blast.
What is Wan-Bissaka?
Oh,
doing
that was another
on the
thing.
Left side? What is he doing?
Doesn't Dallo usually play on the right?
Yeah, usually Dallo switches.
Oh, really?
Wan-Bissaka can't play out of the back on the left side. He just can't do it. That's why they skipped the second phase, like the second phase.
Were they
possession
worried
on
about
the left side every time?
Were they worried about him like keeping up with Werner's speed or something? Bissaka's pretty speedy, right?
I think it was Johnson's speed and dribbling ability. That's why he was over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just trying to think of like tactically why that might be. So a couple other things. I thought Udogie was good in this one.
Dude's a boss.
Nearly scored an own goal.
Oh my God.
Which
headed right onto the post.
Yeah. But like Garnacho has been playing really well, and Udogie had none of it really. I thought he got the better of him fairly consistently.
Yeah.
And then,
other than maybe a cross or two.
The last thing that I thought was significant was Garnacho switched from the left to the right and replaced Antonee in the lineup.
Yeah.
Which
finally.
which like has been a long time coming, but I don't know.
Anyways, I think the 2-2.
And then Jadon Sancho goes to Dortmund and immediately comes off the bench and assists a goal. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
I was just going to say, I think that, I don't know if we covered it, but this one ended 2-2, and I think that's probably it wasn't unfair to either side based on the play and who was available.
Yeah.
Totally agreed with that. Bentancur, though, looking like a fucking Rolls Royce of a player. If I could make things look as easy as he does, I would be fucking good at something. I don't know. He's like, Jesus Christ. Dude looks like he's like
soccer?
Something. Dude looks like he is taking a fucking, like, I don't know, siesta and fucking passing the ball around $100 million footballers. Maybe not $100 million, but looked fucking
There's no
great.
$100 million footballers on that team.
No. Not United or Spurs, to be honest. But Bentancur looked really good. I will say the really worrying thing about Spurs in the next couple games, you look at that bench. Yeah, you can shit on Man United, but they did have some attacking changes. Spurs had no attacking changes in that squad. Nothing. Yeah. So I'm really worried about that in general.
Yep. I think I'm looking at. Well, no, the most interesting. Let's talk about City Newcastle next. What a
City
game.
3, Newcastle 2.
Yeah, what
comeback?
What it's like KDB's world, and we're just living in it, man.
Dude, that first goal.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, he came in and scored a goal and assisted the game winner. Like,
but that pass, that way that he opened his hips up, tricked the defender and passed it into the near post, like just beautiful.
Crazy. I guess my words of caution that he may not be the same player when he returns.
Well, you were right. He changed his haircut significantly.
Right. True. Yeah. I think he's like trying to give Grealish a run for his money or whatever. Yeah. I don't know. What are my thoughts on this game? Newcastle, using practically no subs, finally brought on Hall. I'm looking at who they had available.
I thought Hall could have come on much
Where
earlier.
was Livramento? Is he injured now?
There was some reason he did not come on. I can't remember. I saw some.
He wasn't
article.
even
It
on
might
the
have been
bench.
He wasn't on the bench. Yeah, there's something going on with him. Newcastle are in a tough spot, man. They're falling down the table. They have they don't really. I don't know if they have money to go buy players.
Yeah, so that's a story sort of later on. They have FFP issues. They're like right up against it as well. So they can't go out and buy anyone. They need to be a seller so that they can get some pieces in place for them. There is a rumor that Isak might be available, and Chelsea were scouting this game, which is bizarre. Apparently Chelsea had scouts at this game, and people observed that they were there. So there's like rumors that Isak may be an option for Chelsea that they're exploring, which I like that move more than any other link that Chelsea has had, just because he's a great finisher, can score from anywhere, and he is EPL proven. And he has the sort of injury record that Chelsea likes, So
Such a gangly motherfucker. That guy is like the fastest freak for what he looks like. It's like, how does this guy's legs move like that?
Yeah.
They look like they're going to snap, but they're like, he's faster than most center backs.
Yeah.
Really good player. Kyle Walker looked really bad in this game, other than kicking his goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Kyle Walker seemed to not be 100%. Even I've given him a lot of praise. Didn't look great. I don't know. KDB coming back is really going to change the outlook of this league, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes, see what kind of run City can get on. But beating Newcastle at Newcastle is a huge amount of – they're going to take a huge amount of confidence from that.
What did he need 20 minutes to just snatch victory from? Yeah, I thought Foden looked good. He probably deserved a goal in this one. Ederson, a big story was City's goalie practically immediately coming out of this match because of a collision with Walker, which was an offside run that was allowed to play on because the sideline refs are told to, sideline officials are told to allow that for the most part.
Do you take objection to that? You think there's a better solution?
I don't. The announcers were coming unhinged over it.
I thought this would be a classic case in point for automation. And,
it should just be
offsides.
It should just be automated. The technology is there for that. So that should be automated. But given the current stupid world we live in
or
the
Anthony
PL,
Taylor's a real ref, and
that's
how we take care of offsides.
Yeah,
just handing out jobs.
I guess that's how you have to do it. You got to let the play out rather than get the wrong call and then send it to video to sort it out. I don't know.
Can we talk about Oscar Bob?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about?
Finish?
That fucking winning goal is incredible. Those touches in the box blew my mind. What a terrible childhood that kid probably had.
Yeah,
and
he was probably in an academy, right? He must have been in City's academy. So
I would tease that motherfucker so much. Oscar Bob.
It was probably. It sounds aren't those part of the phonetic alphabet? It sounds like you're spelling something over a walkie-talkie, Oscar, Tango, Bob, Murphy. Yeah.
But he gets on. He scores that goal, and anybody who ever made fun of his name, shitheads like me, should go fucking kill themselves. What a fucking goal. What an incredible goal.
Great goal, great finish. What a moment for him.
I think Jack Grealish might be seeing the end of his career at Man City. Maybe that's a little controversial.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up because we were sort of sending texts back and forth during this match, and you were uncage Grealish, I think or unleash Grealish, something like that. You you seemed to be crying out for Grealish to come into this game. Like, what are your thoughts about that situation?
I don't know if I was calling him out for this specific game. Like, obviously Pep Guardiola knows a lot more than me. But I get this feeling, and I didn't think Doku was very good in the game. But obviously he offers a huge amount. So I don't want to like put down Doku's ability to change games, influence games. But before Jack Grealish came to City, he was one of the best dribblers in the league, right? At Aston Villa, he was one of the most foul players. He had some of the most take-ons. Really influential, right? And he's come in and he is so hamstrung, or at least like he's so put in a position where he's not really influencing the game in a creative sense. He's much more of a tactic player where he needs to stick out wide, keep possession, stick out wide, keep possession, and he doesn't get the kinds of influence in the game that I used to really like when watching Jack Grealish. So I miss that side of him. I thought he was like a little bit of a loose cannon. Anything could happen when he got the ball. You know, he had that ability, and now it doesn't seem like Guardiola has any interest in giving him that, but he's willing to go to Doku and say, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want. Phil Foden, do whatever the fuck you want. Different kinds of players, but still, it's a little disappointing to me. I would really like to see Grealish playing with more freedom. I would like to see him go to a different team to play with more freedom as a kind of from an entertainment point of view. I find the City team at a lot, like especially without KDB and Haaland, pretty fucking boring to watch. So I would really like. I just want Jack Grealish to be able to do more. That's my point. I understand the system he plays in. Understand the need for him to do what he does within Guardiola's system, or at least last year. But I'm kind of getting bored of it. And now that he's on the bench, it's like, what the fuck is even the point? I just love that kind of player.
Apparently he was sick. I just saw it. So I think that plays into it. And I agree with you. I think those are good points tactically. I think the one thing I'd keep in mind, right, is this is a team we talked about having such a dearth of depth, like fairly recently. And like, sure, De Bruyne coming back helps a lot, but I think now that they're a team that's actually on a title push, I think they're going to need depth to continue driving, especially as who the hell knows what the hell's going on with Haaland other than the fantasy managers in his family league.
Yeah. That injury, there's like no word on what's going on with him, right? Let's see if there's an injury update I can find.
Guardiola said he probably will be out till January, at the end of January.
End of January, right? Yeah.
Makes sense that they've been very hush on it, especially if they don't know exactly how bad it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like as this draws out further and further, like what a stupid thing for these guys to do. His I think it was his dad, girlfriend, and brother all dropped him from their fantasy soccer team. Like, what a dumb, boneheaded fucking thing to do if you're in his inner circle to do some shit like that. I don't know.
Well, I guess my only counter or playing the devil's advocate is what's the implication of it, right? Because it's not like at this point we know he's not available for these games, right? Everybody preparing for the games knows that it's going to be Julian Alvarez or some other solution, right?
Yeah,
so,
but
I don't know if it matters, but if it were me, if I were him, I'd be pissed off at them, and if I were them, I probably wouldn't have done that. Just out of why would you give away that information?
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed so boneheaded.
The stupidity of people overwhelms all common sense.
Now we would know that there's something going on with him, but the first maybe 2 weeks they could have played it off, and then teams preparing for them have to be accountable for the possibility that Haaland is going to play, right? And I saw this article the week he was injured and talked about it on this podcast. So if I am seeing that shit, then these teams have got to be aware of stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know how much of an impact that has it at the end of the day, but like it just seemed so stupid. Like it's played out.
Disagree.
Yeah. Sure. Let's talk about Burnley and Luton. Burnley won, Luton won. I didn't watch this, and I had no interest in going back and watching this match. So you guys are gonna have to hard carry this one.
So I guess this comes back to, again, like, what the I was like really burnt out last week as we were doing budgeting. So by like 3:00, like I might have been making like a drink at that point. I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit down and watch some soccer at this point. And so I actually watched all this game. And it wasn't as bad a game, I guess, as you would think, looking at it on
much
paper.
on the line.
Yeah, right. And so there was a certain intensity to it, right? And Company's an interesting guy to watch in the sideline because he's dialed in and he's kind of a wackadoodle sometimes. And so, I really thought Luton in the first half looked like the better squad. I do think that, after that goal was scored, it was a more even game after the first goal was scored. And then, I forget what the statistic, if this was the sixth or seventh time, Burnley's lost points after going ahead in like the last 10 minutes of a game. But, there is this sense that like Burnley could blow it again and then they end up giving the 2 points back. So Luton did well to fight back into it. I don't know if this really changes my perception of who's going to finish bottom three. I do think that while people thought Everton was going to be comfortable staying out of relegation, I think there is still a chance for like, particularly for Burnley to maybe steal some more points and pull themselves out, but they got to stop shooting themselves in the foot with late goals conceded.
Well, I think Vincent Kompany has been a little bit late to the party in terms of changing his tactics a little bit.
Yeah.
If you've watched him and watched that team in the past weeks, they have been better. They've been picking up a few more points because they're playing a little bit more within themselves, looking to counter a little bit quicker and using less of the ultra high line that's caught them out quite a few times. And it's not like their record is really great. It's like a win and a draw in the last five. I think Luton is looking more of a cohesive unit. I will say I agree with Derek. I thought Luton did look better in the beginning, mostly because of that kind of unit structure that they've really nailed down. Burnley came in, scored the goal, and there is. While I've been a big proponent for like throwing VAR in the dustbin of eternity, within the current structure of how VAR operates, there is no fucking way that should have been a goal. The tying goal should have never been allowed to stand within the current kind of like framework of how things are reviewed. The player looks behind him and shoves his ass into the goalie, into Trafford. Absolutely no way that Luton goal should have been allowed. I wonder if you have a different perspective on that, Derek.
No, I mean, I guess I've kind of suspended disbelief about like what I expect to get out of VAR, which is I have no expectation of them getting anything right.
Fair enough.
So it's like I don't understand the standard that's applied, and it's not different from the feeling I get when I watch NFL games or I don't know, or some of the other sports where replays
like basketball.
Yeah, basketball. Like I feel like basketball, they get it right. There's less of it. Like it's only the last couple minutes. I feel like there's very clear parameters, and like usually they can like come to a decision around that's to me pretty clear.
Sure.
I don't understand why, and like there's a subjectivity to it, but I don't understand why there's not stuff where like we look at it and it doesn't pass the eye test and they just go a different direction. But
yeah, I just think with VAR, if you're going to use VAR the way it's been used this year, you have to have the ref go look at that. You could even throw away all the slow motion, still image bullshit that they use, and just have it play real time on a screen for the center referee, and every single time you watch it. It's like, oh, no, that is a clear and obvious foul on the goalie. Understand that he didn't see it in the moment. If there was no VAR, we can all be upset about it, but at least we can accept it. But with VAR, it's just like...
They've got to turn it back into a meritocracy. You can't demote Anthony Taylor and then put him back out there for the rest of the season and be like, this guy's great. Like, there has to be consequences. Like, I mean, if my job performance was as bad as these guys were, I'd be unemployed for the second time in 2 years. Like, I don't understand like what's
Dude,
going on here.
I didn't watch this match, and I was ready to come into the podcast this week and say, credit to the refs because I didn't see any controversies. So it sounds like I missed it.
You should. If you haven't seen that Luton tying goal, you should watch it. I'd love to hear your opinion. It's just, I don't know. It's just garbage.
Ryan's reaction this week was this was one of Anthony Taylor's better matches, and I was like,
compared to what?
I don't. But yeah, we go on and we got to see what they start doing. I just feel like there's got to be some change to how they, because there are good refs, right? Like it's not like every game like this has a shit and there's not people capable of making good decisions on the sideline. It's just a matter of process to get the right people out there, in my mind.
Yeah, you look at the Spurs Man United game, like a game called really well all the way through with very little. Very little question of calls and really good flow, really well managed. But yeah, you come to those kinds of decisions. Here's a question: what does Anthony Taylor do if he gets fired as a ref? Like, what is his job?
So here's the thing, right? Like,
it's going to be like
a
gardener.
Yeah, no, I think so, right? Like a gardener or a garbage man. No, I think like that's. I mean, I don't want to say what other profession goes because I think it's unfair to other professions where there's professionals, right? And like. Just because you've been trained in something doesn't like give you like the right to work. Like I'm sure he could go do other things right now. At the same time, I'm not saying we need to be like that punitive about it, right? Like there's other leagues you could go ref in. Like why not have the best promoted? Like it seems like we just take the same stack of them and throw them out there every season rather than
he's lauded as the best ref that the PL has to offer. Like. There's
quite a bit of it there's quite a bit of defense of him from like what is it, Pogmol or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy because like I've seen the data. He's not good, and they literally had to punish him for how bad his calls were, and then he made a nightmare of a call in the lower division match he reffed as punishment.
Well,
like
it protects the Nepo pyramid, right? Like you say, oh, look, I did something. And then you bring him right back and everybody's still there in their little powwow together and you pretend like things have improved.
Yeah, it doesn't help that he looks fucking confused all the time, too. Like, I
don't have the same hate for him as you guys do, but I do understand.
Yeah. So while you guys were like talking about that, I watched the replay of the goal. I can't believe they didn't have the ref come over and look at that. That's crazy.
Total garbage.
What? I had it muted because I was trying to listen to you guys. What did during the match, what did they say was the possible justification for not taking a look at it? Like
complete stupidity.
Oh, really? That was like, because I was like, is there something? I didn't really hear a
reaction like that. Yeah.
Okay. Because I watching it, I was like, is there something I'm unaware of where like if your back is turned and you're unaware that the keeper is there that like.
Except that he was totally aware. He looked at him.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no explanation. It should have been overruled.
But I do think this continues like the conversation of what are the kinds of pressures we put these referees under and what kind of criticism is, should be directed directly at the individual refs versus the setup that they're working within. I do think that there are some significant organizational issues going on, rule issues that individual refs can't fix themselves. They can only interpret, right? So I don't know. The only way it's going to get better is if
robots.
Is if we
turn it over to Sam Altman.
If there's support of the referees. He's gonna be sitting in like Barbados, like button. I think the only way to fix this is actually giving the referees more support, and that's from the grassroots up. I've shared that opinion before, but shit just keeps happening. Up you, Luton.
They have to do something to deserve support.
Right. I'm not talking about the highest level. I'm talking about the culture of how we deal with referees and their mistakes.
Like their training and development and career path in general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think this is a larger question that's just come to the head this season, especially. Let's talk about Chelsea.
Chelsea 1, Fulham 0.
Woo!
Yeah. Oh, we don't have Everton on here. Everton played Villa.
Aston Villa was a tie.
In what was like a fucking boxing match. I actually Googled, what was it, 0-0?
Yeah, it was like Emery's first 0-0 draw, like ever in the Premier League, maybe, or at least with Villa.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't add that to the show notes. But like the amount of stoppage in that match and
ridiculous.
Like the number of players that ended the game with their skull leaking out onto the pitch. Like
my favorite was James Tarkovsky like calling Onana and what's his name over to like come fight. Like he was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Come on over, guys.
Dude, yeah, I watched that with Derek yesterday. We missed that match and the United match because of my birthday brunch that you opted out of. Because you were
it was a waste of time. You didn't miss anything.
But we rewatched the Villa Everton match after, and I had to Google if that's some kind of rivalry that I was unaware of, and what I came up with was that it's not technically a rivalry, but it is the most played fixture in English soccer, not in the PL, but like in the totality of English soccer, Villa Everton is the most played fixture. So there is some history there, but
I also think Daichi wants every game to be like that.
Yeah,
I think he sees his teams if it's a
is it Daichi or Daesh?
It's Daesh. I'm just calling him Daichi.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's definitely Daesh. I just think that he wants that atmosphere, that dynamic in the game, and he thinks his teams are always going to win. And against an Aston Villa team that would really wipe them across the floor in footballing terms, got exactly what he wanted out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't... I mean, it was a 0-0 draw, but it was, like, interesting to watch in that it was just so physical. It was, like, more physical... like the most physical game I can think of in like local history. Like so many injuries. Like players were like a handful of players were going to get stitches after this match. It was wild to see.
Another controversial offsides in that game too, with Moreno scoring. There was like Danjuma and someone else. Danjuma was kind of getting pulled back. There's like a toe offside, some kind of weird rule interpretation in that game too.
I thought it was we had it muted, right? When they were reviewing that, yeah. I think, Derek. And I was like, this is obviously offside. I didn't hear any of the commentary on like why it was controversial. It just like looked offside. They played a pass into, I forget who it was, but they played a pass in that was offside, and then he played a drop pass, and that person scored. Like it was offside.
Yeah, the back player looked clearly off to me.
Yeah, it was some interpretation of the rules that had confusion going, but I was in the same. I kind of looked away because I was like, oh, it's offsides. But there was some controversy, though I can't.
Yeah, because they reviewed it for a long time, I think
it was like what phase of play was there an offsides? I think that was maybe the question.
Yeah. But. Well, anyway, so going back, Chelsea 1, Fulham 0. Not the funnest game to watch.
3 home wins on a spin.
Are you just starting to feel that way about Chelsea games, or
like I mean, they're just really missing Nico Jackson's presence on this team right now.
Why did I even ask?
And I mean,
or maybe any center forward at all.
Do you think our 5 yellow cards were frustration from not having Nico Jackson out there?
Yeah, they were tribute cards. Because he got, what did he get, like 4 yellow cards in a row in matches for dissent or something like that?
I saw Enzo point towards the sky and say, "This one's for you."
This one's for you. Yeah, man of the match. So I think you've been slightly, maybe I'm remembering this wrong. Have you been critical of Enzo, Derek, lately? Okay.
No, I've been consistently critical of his shooting, but I don't think I've been critical of Caicedo.
So the only reason I bring it up is I was surprised that he was named co-man of the match. Him and Palmer were named co-man of the match, men of the match. I thought that Palmer was far more impactful than Enzo, but I mean, Enzo was like, this was the best game I've seen from him in a while, but I thought Palmer just had more impact on the game. I don't know. Do you have any
that's
other?
The way it came across for sure, but and it's tricky because scoring skews it in some ways, right? I think, given that Enzo, played a very clean midfield game as he usually does, played some good balls to keep kind of play such a critical role in build up, and then on top of that had a couple good tackles. I think maybe that's where they're coming from, but yeah, I mean, I'm surprised to hear that. I didn't realize that. I thought Palmer had the much better game, and even with, I don't know, like 90% of the games, Palmer's more important to me than Enzo. In terms of overall influence on the game. But
so the recap here really is it was fairly tight game, like not a lot happening. Really like Chelsea played a lot better at Fulham earlier in the season. The Chelsea just seemed a little flat to me. On the Fulham side, I thought Antonee Robinson looked good. I think he's just had a great season in general.
Yeah, he's going to get purchased, I think. I don't think he's going to be at Fulham next year.
Yeah, I think he's just looked spectacular for this season.
He's actually perfect for a Pochettino team in a lot of ways because he gets up and down the pitch so well. For a back, that is.
Is he? How tall is he? Because Chelsea just sent Ian Maatsen to Dortmund with the hope to sell him for like about 35
that fucker's
million
shorter
euros.
Than me.
Yeah,
Ian Maatsen's small.
He's a tiny man.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Pochettino doesn't like Maatsen because of his height, and that's like Maatsen is very dynamic and like was like balled out for Burnley, and I think made the Championship's best 11 last season, but he hasn't gotten a sniff this season really from Pochettino.
It's really, I don't think it's about size. I think it's about, this is part of size. I think it's about physicality.
Yeah.
I think that Pochettino likes really physical, wide fullbacks who can cross the ball really well, and I'm not so sure that Maatsen does. I don't know that much about him, but I think in general, part of the kind of slight malaise that Chelsea's in is the lack of fullbacks that can cross the ball right now. It's a really, really big problem. And a lack of number 10. I don't even think the number 9 position is really the issue. I think it's the fullbacks and the number 10. Pochettino's system needs those positions. And right now they don't have any of them.
Yeah.
Speaking of fullbacks, did you think that Gusto was going to take another straight red for a 6?
I thought he was. Yeah, I thought he was going to get a straight red for that. He's got to clean that up out of his game, whatever that is. Like, yeah, I mean, just studs up right into, who was it?
Willian.
It was Willian. Yeah, like right in. If that
Chelsea
was like
legend.
If that, if that was inch higher, they surely would have given him a red card. It was just right on the line. Like,
yeah, looking at it right now, he couldn't have complaints if he was sent off. Really,
yeah,
that's a red card challenge.
He looked guilty as shit on his face.
Yeah, that was bad. I thought he was for sure being sent off, especially because it was Antonee Taylor. But yeah.
You can't complain that much about Antonee Taylor then, he does some good things for him.
He has like a real history like with Chelsea. I think there's like anyway, I don't want to like get on another Taylor tangent, but Gusto I thought was bad in this one. I thought Palmer looked bright and very creative at times. The match was won off a penalty that was awarded on basically a dive from Sterling. There was contact, but Sterling just fell down, and it won the match for Chelsea, but I didn't feel good about it. And they reviewed it and upheld it, but like it's just. Do you guys think
Sterling is starting to get that? That's starting to creep into his game a little bit more recently. I feel
he's
gotten a couple yellow cards recently. Is that right?
Yep.
For diving.
For diving, yeah, he's received 2 that I can recall in local history. I don't like it. I don't like the way Sterling was playing really well earlier in the season. I am not stoked with how he's been playing lately.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He brings maturity, I guess, to the team.
I guess part of me feels like it's just Poch being inflexible again. Like, I don't know. Like, put your best 4 attackers out there and go at them rather than like trying to pigeonhole these guys into ineffective.
Well, I don't think he even knows what his best attacking side is.
That's part of the problem with this team. There's so much flux. And then, all right, so some other things that I noticed in this game. Broya, really ineffective. It looks like he got an okay player rating, but for me, like, you guys are going to think that I'm trolling here, but I'm not. Like, Jackson gets into positions where he should score. He just doesn't. Like, I think he has underperformed his XG by the most in the PL. It's been a minute since I looked at these statistics, but he has like the second highest XG in the PL. So he's really good at getting in these positions, but then he like doesn't have the finished product, and that's what everybody is critical on him for. The Chelsea hierarchy is probably looking at Jackson and being like, if we can get this guy to just perform at his XG, if we can like make him more clinical, we're going to have like a real like talisman here. If we can do that, whether they can do that or not, I don't know. Broya doesn't get into those positions. Like, he very obviously, like, Jackson makes players around him better because he's such a pest. He's so fast. He like bodies people more than Broya seems willing to do.
Definitely a hard player to play against. You got to give that to Jackson. Like, he is a pest is a word, a dog in there to say what I don't know, Ben Foster says that all the time about players. But he definitely has that edge to him, which Chelsea generally doesn't have without him.
Yeah.
And Broya, I don't think Broya is a Premier League level player.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. But I think you guys see more of him play, but every time I see him play, he's not really very quick. He doesn't have good movement in the box, and his link-up play is really not anywhere to be seen. So I'm not really sure what he's going to give Chelsea in the long term. And he's homegrown, right, Broya?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, you watch for him to be sold this summer. Get that profit from him.
He just signed a long deal with like a 7-year contract,
which is probably to maximize any transfers. That could happen, right?
Yeah. But he agreed to it, probably thinking that he'd be, part
of the plan.
Part of the plan for Chelsea. But he's not. He's just not it. Gusto, nightmare of a game. I'm just running through everyone here, and I've got like one remark to wrap this up. Disasi scares the shit out of me. It looks like he had an okay rating on who scored, but I disagree. Like he's just
a cannon.
Yeah, he's just really fucking shaky to me. I want to long term, like Silva will be gone next season. What? Thiago Silva? What are you, Bruno G?
Silva has not had the positive influence on this team that he has in the past. It feels
He's
little bit
40.
like... Yeah, no, I mean in terms of mentality. I feel like in the past he's brought this certain experience, this certain kind of nuance to going into a match that has really influenced the team to get good results in the past, like before last year, of course, and this year. But that's really seemed to have waned over time now. He doesn't have the same influence over the group, partially because Pochettino is such a big personality. But it doesn't seem like he's having.
Well, he doesn't speak English. Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, he is like, with like all due, I love Thiago Silva, and I'm just so stoked that like for the time that we've had him at the club.
Yeah, I can't believe we got him.
Yeah, I can't on a free. But he's just like, you know, father time is undefeated, as the saying goes, and it's starting to show for me. Long term, hopefully Wesley Fofana comes back and is like, you know, on the level that he was before his injury.
Fucking chance.
Yeah, hopefully. But if not, I like Badiashile, and he's not getting, like, he's looked shaky at times, but he's coming up to speed this season. Last season, he looked like the best signing on the team, like, or the best signing we made in I think it was the January window. So I'm like excited about Badiashile, and I'm excited about Colwill moving back into the center of the defense, which is like the other thing I want to call out. Pochettino, I know he listens to the show. You're fucking brain dead if you think you are making Chilwell a winger. Like Chilwell, earlier in the season before Chilly's injury, he was playing Chilwell at left wing, and he subbed Chilwell in for Sterling and had him playing as a winger at the end of this game. It was Chilwell's first appearance, I think, since his injury, rather than having him come on for Colwill at left back.
And keeping Mudryk as an unused sub.
Yeah. Like, out fucking rageous. That
is this something he said publicly that he wants to transition Chilwell? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That's interesting.
In press conferences, he's been like, "Yes, this is my plan," or whatever. Like he's on some hallucinogenics if he thinks he's taking, like, when when fit and available, Chilwell is in the mix for the best left backs in the world, to my mind. Played out of his skull during our Champions League run. And making him a left winger when you have Mudryk and Sterling. Mudryk, who's like rounding into form. Like, what does that do for Mudryk's confidence if like he's starting to score goals and like pick up the tactics that you're working on, and you put Chilwell in for Sterling to close this game out? Yeah. And yeah. Anyway,
well, I wonder if that has to do with Chilwell's like injury record, like he's trying to protect him in a less physical space. I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been doing it all season. It's fucking crazy. Petrovic, to my mind, has played Robert Sanchez out of a position.
Been really good, yeah.
Yeah, he's been very, very good. Not Vicario good, but like a pretty great signing, it's looking like, from the MLS. I think they got him for like $12 million.
Yeah, and I'd say like Sanchez had a lot of shaky moments. We've had a lot of shaky goalkeepers like Kepa and stuff.
Who doesn't even start at Real Madrid now.
He's coming right back.
Petrovic always looks to me like very calm and collected and authoritative back there, and like doesn't give me like the heebie-jeebies that he's about to do something stupid. Like, and we see this with a lot of other, like something like Turner does a lot of dumb shit too. Like he's the opposite of that.
Yeah, Sanchez might be, I don't know for a fact, like just like I'm trying to think of like the merits that might be there between both players. Like maybe Sanchez is a better downfield distributor, but Petrovic way more commanding in the box, way better shot stopper, and he is like somewhat of a penalty specialist, which we saw in against Newcastle. And so they're like, he's just a better all around keeper. And so now like, what do we do with Sanchez? And then Kepa, like you said, is coming right back to this team because he, did you see the own goal he scored on himself this week? It's like a remarkable feat of acrobatics that Kepa, yeah, I'll let you look it up. But if you're listening to this podcast and you haven't seen it, you should check that out. Anyway, Chelsea 1, Fulham 0. Chelsea's starting to win game, like they're winning these games that you have to grind out, and it's good to see that. But and they move up to 8th, and they're like 1 point off jumping to like 6th or something.
That means a title charge, right?
Yeah.
To Ange, yeah.
Yeah, according to drunk Ange Postacoglu.
You can get real excited about that, but even if they move up a place, they're still like 8-9 places off 5th. There is a separation happening between the top 5 and everybody else currently. What it must be from West Ham up. What is it?
Yeah. So they're 9 points behind Spurs for 5th. But they could jump into 6th. Like you could, if they keep winning, they're like they could jump into 6th pretty quickly.
And I could see a world in where Europa League is a success for them for the season.
Yeah, they need that. If they don't get that, then they will have financial fair play issues next season. Oh man, we're running so long. I'm gonna rapid fire this. I've got this section of random banter. Eric Dyer, what do you think of him leaving, Luke?
You know, Eric Dyer is kind of a pantomime joke now, but it's not that long ago that he was a pretty top level, high performing footballer. You know, when he played for Poch at that kind of holding midfield position.
How long ago would you say that was?
Probably about 5 years ago.
You think 5 years ago?
Level set for everybody listening what Luke perceives as not that long ago.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. He performed well at World Cups and Euros. He was a really good player, and he just got slow. He couldn't keep up. I will always remember his first match against West Ham when he came on, played right back, scored the game winner. As a Spurs fan, I have good memories of him. Wasn't up to the level. Don't know why the fuck Bayern Munich would sign him.
But, this is 2024, right? So, like, what's your reaction to him going there in 2024?
I think that Bayern Munich are pretty desperate for another center back for numbers. He's going to be the fourth choice when they get injuries back. I think it's a little bit like Timo Werner signing at Spurs. It's to cover a short-term injury crisis.
And you guys gave him a really good deal because you wanted to get a couple more basis points in there, right?
But I have really good memories of Dyer. Like I said, easy to make fun of now. Was a much better player when he was younger. I just didn't think he could keep pace as he got older.
I've never rated Dyer personally, but like I don't. That's viewed through the lens of a Chelsea fan.
I think he played a critical role for Tottenham at times. It kind of surprised me in his capability of doing so. But
when he played as the holding midfielder, it was kind of a revolutionary kind of, not a revolutionary's the kind of hyperbolic, but the way that he played in that center midfielder position, dropped back in between the two center backs at the time, was kind of new to the Premier League. Happens a little bit more now. But he was a really important part of really good Spurs teams. So I'm sad to see him go, but happy he's off the wage bill.
Yeah. Got like
that's
$5 million for him or something.
Yeah. Also, by all accounts, a pretty good person who brought a lot of foreign players into the Spurs team. He speaks like 5 fucking languages, grew up in Portugal, and then came back to England. So cool story. I think a good person by all accounts. Sad to see him go for that personality, but he had no place in our team. Like we were playing Emerson fucking Royale as a center back instead of him. And would ask Ange is just like, he's like, oh, you don't have any center backs. Is Eric Dyer part of your plan? No. Just like
no, mate.
Instantly. No, mate.
Mate.
But
all right. Well, let's so like sticking to both Spurs and Bayern on these notes I have. So Radu Dragusin, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but he has signed for Spurs instead of Bayern. Which is crazy. Like, I what is happening with Bayern? I actually need to take some time to look at this because, like, the next story is Davies is running out his contract and probably going to Real Madrid, which I can understand the draw of Real from Bayern, but like I can't understand the draw of like Spurs versus Bayern. Yeah, I don't know.
He's 20. He's 21. He knows that if he goes to Bayern, he's not going to get as much opportunity. It speaks to doing something early in the transfer window. One, you're first to the market. You're first to approach the player. You've got some, credibility. I thought
Bayern approached him first, and then he snubbed them.
No, Spurs approached first. Bayern came in. Gave a better offer financially, and he said, I'll develop more at Spurs. I also think that Ange has a lot of sway. People think he's, players think he's charismatic and that they can learn from him. I think Pochettino had a similar vibe at Spurs, but Levy never backed him. So I think that's part of it. I'm happy he's there. I don't know how good he's going to be, but he could be a Davinson Sanchez kind of signing, he was a good defender who can't play the ball. But we'll see. Happy about it. We need another center back.
Yeah.
And
you guys do need that. Yeah.
I do think that Bayern is a little bit of a stale place because of the culture. They win almost every year, all that kind of shit. I also think, and you would both speak to this, I think Thomas Tuchel is probably a pretty hard person to work for.
Tough. Yeah.
He's pretty critical. He's not really forgiving. So Davies kind of makes sense. I don't know. I would go to Real Madrid. Given the choice.
Yeah. I mean, obviously. But, dude, if, like, Real Madrid with, like, Davies, apparently they've worked it out with Mbappe. Bellingham is a killer. Like, that team is going to be...
They're gonna win the Champions League this year, I think.
Yeah, they are stacked.
They don't even have to start Kroos and Modric anymore. They can just have one playing, sub out in the 60 minutes, have the next come in.
Dude.
No sweat. Valverde's in there. Camavinga. That team is good.
Camavinga is so good too. And versatile. Can play all over the place. Yeah. Real's a problem. They're going to be a problem. Dude, if I'm Barcelona, I'm like, how the fuck did we let this happen? Like, Barcelona's like turning... This is true. They're like turning grass from their pitch into diamonds through some process and trying to sell it to their fans to raise funds because they're in such a dire financial position. And meanwhile, Real are like picking up Davies and Mbappe on frees and like have put together probably the best midfield in the world. They've got, what's his name on the left wing? Why is it escaping me?
That short dude who's like a crazy good dribbler.
Yeah, the Brazilian guy. Why the fuck
Vinicius?
Oh,
Vinicius,
Jr.?
yeah.
They have a new player out left too. Vinicius has been playing a little bit more through the middle.
Yeah,
and they have this new shorter, like dribbling fucking phenom.
Oh, you're talking about Arda
I can't remember his name. I don't watch that much La Liga, though I did watch some of the Super Cup.
Yeah, Arda Güler's come back from injury. They picked him up from he's Turkish, yeah, and he is like technically insane.
Yeah,
and I think he plays on the right though. Maybe I don't know who you're talking about.
I could be wrong.
Anyway, let's run through some Chelsea stuff real quick. Chelsea, like I said, they were at that Newcastle game to scout Isak, which is weird because like you'd think there'd be plenty of tape on Isak, but Newcastle might have to be a seller right now to avoid some financial issues, especially as they tumble down the table. Yeah, so that's a story. They also are linked with Evan Ferguson, but Brighton want 100 million plus for him because why wouldn't they? If they could sell Caicedo for that much to Chelsea.
Yeah. They know what the script is, right?
Yeah. So that doesn't seem realistic to me, and I don't know why Ferguson would go there. And then it dropped today. So I don't know how much you guys have followed this, but Benzema has refused to turn up for practice at his team in Saudi or whatever. Like he's just MIA.
Are they sure he's not just busy extorting from one of his teammates? Or
yeah. Dude, what a piece. Dude, what are you going to do if Benzema comes to Chelsea?
I was about to say, I will come fucking unhinged. That will be the moment where I'm the one coming unhinged if he comes to Chelsea.
Yeah,
I don't even know if I'll watch, to be honest. Fuck him.
The word today was that Chelsea are linked to a 6-month loan of Karim Benzema. And Pochettino's mulling it over right now.
We sell our players to Saudi Arabia, and then we get some more back. Yeah.
It's
Todd Bowley's like, I love this place.
Yeah, it's not going well in Saudi. Jordan Henderson very publicly wants out of Saudi. Nobody could have seen that coming. It's almost... I just wish that, like, everyone on the fucking planet had told him that this was a stupid idea.
And he had done it anyways,
and he was being snowed by piles of cash. But yeah, I like the rumors that I've read are that like he's basically been told that he's not playing at a level that will keep him in the England squad. And he's also miserable playing in Saudi. And Benzema's also miserable playing there. They both want out. I read today that Jordan Henderson has been told by his club that they will not entertain him leaving. So he's stuck, I guess. Yeah.
So that's made a deal with the devil, man. It's like I've heard quite a few reports of a lot of these players who have moved to Saudi Arabia, especially with their families, just don't like fucking living there because their wives can't leave the house without without worrying about being admonished. They can't drink alcohol. It's like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen?
And meanwhile, Ronaldo's like, I love it over here.
Like, you ever see like photos of the matches? Like,
there's like 40 people there.
Yeah, and like no women. Like women aren't allowed. So Shannon's a big tennis fan, and Saudi. So I think you are too, Luke, right? Like you guys play tennis together?
Yeah, medium.
Yeah,
medium
okay. Well, fan. Saudi has secured the next 10 years the women's tennis championship or something. I don't know anything about tennis, but they've secured the rights to to host that, and like they wouldn't allow women to play tennis professionally. So like, what is this whole thing that's going on where we're letting this like anti-progressive state just buy up assets and buy power. I don't know.
You sure about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, what could be interesting, I was thinking about this yesterday, the model of, right, how they went about live golf or whatever, and they took that, they basically leveraged their position to take over the fucking, whatever the PTA or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yep, PGA.
PTA. The Parents Teachers Association of America.
They're coming for them next.
They're coming for our education system next.
Ben Solomon's like, no, we will ban that book and that book.
This fucking country was chopping reporters up like a couple of years ago.
Well, what would be interesting is if they went and took the Super League concept, basically took over that. Now that it's been, in the courts, it's been said it was illegal for FIFA or UEFA to kind of overtake that or shut it down. I would not be surprised if they try to take the same model with the Super League and leverage that position against something like the Champions League. It'd be very interesting to see what happened if Saudi Arabia became involved with the Super League, if they're not already, for that matter.
Yeah. Well, they're yeah.
It's fucking crazy. The fucking the Super Cup was just played. The La Liga Super Cup was just played in Tahoe. It's at Tahoe, Doha, or wherever the fuck. And it just blows my mind. It's
the Turkish. There was like a match for. I think it was the like two top teams in like Galatasaray and. So it got called off. Man, I wish I could remember the story I read. Anyway, they were supposed to host some big match for the Turkish league, and it got called off. Like the players refused to play for some reason. This is terrible fucking reporting.
We're not reporters, all right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what we are, but I'm not reliable. Yeah, it's not that. God, trying to get through these. Chelsea signed a shirt sleeve deal with a Russian crypto firm, and I'm just going to say that's really fucking confusing to me that was allowed. But we don't have to talk about that a whole lot.
That's real bad.
Yeah, and they're going to become their like training kit sponsor after this season. They'll like convert to that next season, so they'll have like an even more prominent display, I guess, on one of the kits that Chelsea wears. And then probably the biggest story, Forest and Everton have been turned over to like an independent commission to determine their punishment for breaching financial fair play. So you guys want to talk about that?
Well, I think if what is the limits, like 107 million pounds, they can't have losses within 2 years being more than that amount or whatever the amount is.
It's something.
Yeah,
like
it's kind of the Everton one. It feels like Everton's really getting shit on in terms of all of this. I think their leadership has been really bad. Nottingham Forest is not that surprising because the amount of money they've spent on transfers in the past 2 seasons has been fucking outrageous.
Yeah, like what did they think was going to happen?
Yeah, like they're going to make the champion. Like they're going to get.
They were going to title challenge. Yeah,
it's like fuck off.
You don't have Ange.
We can discuss that comment if we really need to, but I don't really care. I hope that Everton does not get any more points deductions. I think that 10 point really still seems unfair and out of the box. But I don't know. I think that this is just the way it's going to happen.
It's 105 million pounds over 3 seasons. Yeah,
3 seasons.
Yep.
I just like, and you look at the financial situation with Saudi Arabia. What space is there for these clubs to get it under control? Like, is there even a way for them to bring this spending under control, or are these mid to small size clubs just going to keep running into this? I think that's like, where does this actually lead?
Well, Everton is just like negligence, right? Like Everton's a big club.
Poor ownership, yeah.
Very bad ownership. Like, but they are a big club. And they've just, their ownership was, they just managed it into the ground basically, and now they're just in a bad position all around. I hope they are punished selfishly because I want the pressure. I want the precedent for like harsh punishment to continue to build for whenever they like figure out what they're going to do about the 100+ charges against City. Like, I hope they get just fucking nuked into the ground.
Even if that means we're taking deductions for the 3 or 4 charges against us.
It's 1 right now.
Oh,
it's
God.
just
well,
it's just
it's
1.
Gonna,
yeah.
I assume it's going to grow if we're funneling money, we're embezzling money through Russian crypto. But fair play, yeah. So it's I agree with your point.
We're
right?
gonna
Point,
like Chelsea is guilty of something, and we should pay for it.
Yeah. At some point, there's got to be teeth for this stuff, other than to like Everton and Forest, right? And that's the absurdity of like how this is played out. And I don't get like it can't just be that Man City's spending 10x in legal fees compared to Everton. Like I'm sure they are, but like how does that absolve them? Like I don't. It's very there's going to be a lack of trust to your point, unless what's good for one is good for all soon enough.
Yeah. And then with City, Forest, I think that's where your like broader question comes in, Luke. And like, I don't know how, with the level of competition and the level of wealth at the top, that a mid-league table, bottom to mid-league table, team comes in and establishes themselves and makes like the whole purpose of all of this is like the dream that like a team could climb this ladder and establish themselves in the Premier League, and that it's not guaranteed for anyone, right? And I don't know that the system is achieving that goal at all.
Well, I find myself incredibly skeptical of any FFP breaches until Man City is charged with something, or it receives some kind of punishment. You know, I just don't buy into any of it. I think it's all kind of, it's all just, it's just kind of, it's empty. It feels just empty and in some ways encouraging the monopolization too. Like, right. It's like if Nottingham Forest can't spend more than they make trying to climb the ladder, what are, like you said, what are these clubs supposed to be? Like maybe Aston Villa is the mark on that. Like, but I don't know what their financials look like. And this is all pretty opaque anyway, because in England, we don't really learn what transfer fees are. We only see what's reported. It's not like in the US where things are publicly stated, right? Like things like salaries, all that. We don't actually know. We just hear reports that we trust to be accurate. This is just all so opaque to me. There has to be some level of accountability, or the ones who are really gonna suffer the fans. Like, what is it like to be an Everton or Nottingham Forest fan? An Everton fan, you just got a 10-point deduction, and then you're back in the news for it. It's like they're the ones who are really going to suffer.
Yeah, and it's like anyone's surprised. Like they were in a terrible financial position, and now they're in they continue to be in one, and there's no way out. Like
not if you keep giving 10-point deductions.
They've got so much debt that stadium is going to just hang over them. A sort of a story in all of this is that Chelsea did not receive, like they are apparently not in breach of financial fair play. From what I've read, they're going to be in real trouble next year unless they do some like real financial jujitsu or manage to qualify for a European competition. Like they have to get into Europe. Like they cannot be just playing for England trophies and the PL next season with the way they've modeled their finances. So like they always knew they were going to be good this season, but they're in real trouble next reporting period if they don't figure something out. Derek, let's cover Yanks in the ranks. What do you got for, like, do this real quick, and then it'll be, like, one of our longest episodes ever, but...
Yeah, you guys are just happy to have me back. I understand. You want to talk longer.
Yeah. Well, last week, I think it was our shortest ever, because I was like, I'm, like, hallucinating. I need to get off of this shit. Yeah.
So, AC Milan updates. Moose is back from muscle injury. Didn't start this one, but was used as sub, so that's good. We'll see if he gets back in the form. And then Pulisic continues his his run of form. So he was the Serie A Player of the Month. I don't know if we talked about that. We might have, but which means, he's on the same level of at least Harry Maguire, if not better. And
man, why you got to take shots at Harry Maguire?
I don't. Yeah,
his mom loves him.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. And then so he was involved in the build-up of multiple goals in their 3-1 win this past week over Roma, which that's obviously a big win in the league there.
I saw footage of the fans for each team in the stands shooting fireworks at each other.
Yeah, that sounds
good.
Right.
Fucking shit.
Yeah. Italians are very Italy. Yeah, the Italians.
I would do
very
that at
evolved. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, good to see him continuing to kind of rock and roll there. And then I think good news on the Gio front that he's hired a new agent. So hopefully something gets moving there. And then on top of that, Sancho going there isn't going to help get him any more playing time either. So something needs to change there.
Yeah, he's just languishing there.
Yeah,
kind of like really
you're starting to stall a little bit.
Yeah, pretty bizarre. But yeah.
Interesting. AC Milan is so far back in the title race in Serie A. I didn't realize they're 9 points back. That's pretty big gap. Juventus, right? Like Weston McKennie has started to play a lot more for them. Is that right?
I think that transition started a couple months ago, but he's been a pretty key player for them.
I've always had a kind of soft spot in my heart for Weston McKennie. Like,
I really like McKennie.
I don't know how good he is, but he's just like a player that something can happen at any time. I don't know if he's super consistent, but he has some magic in his boots for sure. And Timothy Weah next to him, I love that club connection for the national team.
Yeah.
Now, any
what
positives
a redemption,
I ever say.
What a redemption story for him too, McKennie, because there was they ended up not following through with this, but his falling out with whoever the manager there is, I don't know off the top of my head, but it was very public and to the point that they weren't going to bring him on their US tour this summer. Like one of the United States national team stars, they were going to leave away from the squad while they went on a US tour. They ended up not doing that, obviously, and now he's worked his way into being a fairly nailed-on starter for them. Good on him for grinding it out there. But
yeah, I agree. That could have gone one of two ways, and he kind of showed some real resiliency there.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys. It's been a long episode. Good to have everyone back. Derek and I are traveling Friday. We're going skiing. Hopefully we're not catching an avalanche. There's been a lot of those all throughout the country. We've just been getting dumped on with snow everywhere in America. But we'll both be bringing microphones, so we'll be recording our podcast as normal. We've got a Discord. We're on social media. I think we're all back and healthy at this point, so should be getting the full complement of Football Yanks going forward. And check us out at footballyanks.com. Discord links in the show description. You guys got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Good luck at soccer, Luke.
Oh fuck!
I can see Shannon complaining, the stream of her being I can't believe I have to drive in this shit and then play in this shit. Well,
she was
her car is scary as fuck.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
really
if you drove her car in the snow, you'd be scared too, which you have, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've never driven in the snow. I drove it in the rain, and taking a turn, I felt the wheels coming loose. That car is a legit piece of shit. There's nothing redeemable about it other than, I guess, the gas mileage. I don't know. Yeah, but
sounds like Chelsea Football Club at the moment. Prius is equal to or greater than Chelsea Football Club.
We'll see once we've got Kareem Benzema banging in goals for us.
Oh, God.
Have a great week, you fuckers.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to the Football Yanks podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. We'll see you next time.